Thursday, live here on Esports Extra, the only live call-in sports show talking traditional sports and esports. We'll take your phone calls live here, 877-853-5247. The meeting ID is Esports Extra. That's 377-678-9872. Press the pound button twice to join the show. Larry Ridley here, a little SNY TV, a little NBC Sports, a little Madden NFL, a little NBA 2K League. I got the band of brothers back with me, as we do on a Thursday typically. Yes, sir. We got the broskies. We'll go down to the DFW and check in with A. Willie. Doesn't have a hoodie, but still my dog. What's up, bud?
Man, what's going on? Just it's another hot one here in Dallas. So still another day where we got to hear about if Dak is going to get his money or not.
He's going to get some of that this year, about 31, 32 million. So, you know, as the everyman would say, he's doing all right. You know what I'm saying? But not the college pockets.
he made a statement today too. He did something today. He made a statement.
What is it? He's backing someone that's in the criminal justice system, right?
Yes. He wrote to the governor of Oklahoma that someone needs to be free from. Yeah.
Oh, saw that. Yeah, just saw that not too long ago. We'll go up to Brooklyn. Well, actually, where Brooklyn at, but actually in Manhattan. OG 2 Cents podcast, head coach, NBA 2K League's Brooklyn Nets gaming crew. What it do?
Hey, nothing. Glad to be back, man. You know, I'm hitting and missing right now with the season going on. So always glad to be back on set.
Hey, man, you're about 500 on the show too, man. But we'll see if we get the good OG today or the off OG today.
Oh, man.
Did he just call this his winning percentage or something? He's terrible.
Hey, that means we got a 50-50 chance to have a good show today, so we're going to find out. We'll go down to West Palm Beach, Royal West Palm Beach out there off Okeechobee. Yes, Ponce de Leon still got that baby face. He's still swimming in the fountain of youth. D-Dubs, what up?
Doing good. Just chilling out here. It was storming about a minute ago. Skies opened up, but everything's good.
Hey, man, that trip was good to Larry, man. He feeling good.
Shout out to Snook and Diddy, Renee, Serena, and Kim. Yes, the queens of Esports Extra down in the A, and also West Virginia on those country roads. I know they're excited to, hopefully they're watching. Y'all better be watching, because I'm going to be asking questions. There will be a quiz after the show. Guys, we got a good show today, guys. We're talking about the Washington football team. We'll get into that as training camp opened up last week across the 32 NFL teams. The NFL, man, they're pulling it. In NBA, they got hotline bling too, man. They got a snitch line. We'll talk about that. Also, John Gruden, Chucky, pulling a fast one on the Raiders out there in Vegas. We'll talk about that. Matt Breida just bought him a daggone whip. Got him a Lambo, a Lamborghini, and dude said he beat on his chest. He calling out folks. We're going to talk about his need for speed. Kendra Douglas, good friend of mine, working at my old shop in Orlando, the NBC affiliate, West TV down in Orlando, one of the good stations in this country. She'll be joining us from the NBA bubble in Orlando, talking about the NBA bubble. Also, Jonathan Isaac, we talked about that over the weekend, and not standing for the standing for the anthem and not kneeling, and also the injury that he suffered, and also jersey sales going through the roof. And I guess none of us are shocked by this. We'll get into some of that as well. We'll talk about Kevin Durant. He's got his finals, and we'll tell you who he's picking to win the NBA championship this year. It's not Brooklyn because he's not playing. We'll talk about the NCAA making some judgments and some rulings when it pertains to the fall sports in the NCAA. Pac-12 boycott, we touched on that a little bit this past weekend on Sunday. This thing is picking up steam. We'll see where it lands and how it will affect the larger landscape in college athletics. Rashad Bateman, speaking in college football, a receiver from Minnesota, taking his talents to the NFL. He's not the only one. It started as one about a week ago with the kid from Virginia Tech, Va-Tech. Now it's like 2 or 3 more highly talented All-American caliber players, all of them first-round talents and grades going as well. Vin TV, exciting since we talk about esports. This is Esports Extra. We'll get on into that and the launch last night or yesterday with Vin TV doing some exciting things. We'll talk about the things we like and some of the things we don't like. There's a lot I don't like. You know I'm going to tell you about it, so we'll get into that. NBA 2K League, we'll talk about that as well. The season wrapping up. We'll get into our hometown Brooklyn Nets and as well compete forever on Black News Channel this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, back on TV. Episode 10, the HBCU Takeover 2K event. That was pretty good and pretty cool during the John Lewis Good Trouble movie. Guys, you guys ready to go?
All right, let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's start with the Washington football. Go ahead, D-Dubs. Go ahead.
I'm just, that Mr. Softy, he's on time. Every time around 7 o'clock, I hear he truck outside. He don't miss a beat, that ice cream man.
D, you miss your sprinkles, man?
I need my sprinkles.
Oh, man. He's soft, America. Soft and sweet. You guys ready? Washington football team, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. We had Julie Donaldson on literally the day before she took the job with the Washington football team there. She's been on the job for about 2 weeks now, making some changes. They became the Washington football team officially for the 2020 season. They're getting some valuable input from the public. I know she's doing forums and things of that nature. They're doing a lot, too, behind the scenes with TV shows and digital media. She's hosting shows. They're going to bring in a play-by-play guy soon. You can see some of her imprints and tentacles around the Washington football team. I'm so happy for her. We go back a long way. Really good friend of mine. Also, they got the football helmets on now. You saw these stickers, right? We saw them, the first video of that. We're showing the pictures now. I want to get you guys' thoughts, man. Looking like an Alabama or a Penn State when we look at the burgundy and gold, man. When it comes to Washington, we saw the 21 go on there. I kind of like it. It's classic and sort of smooth, but it does look a little college-esque, if you ask me, though. But we'll get you guys' thoughts on it. We'll start with the guy. Who's the closest guy to play in the NFL?
If it wasn't me.
Me! Because I'm
You! Pulling rank.
No, we'll start with OG since he's back. OG from a little hiatus. OG, your thoughts on the Washington football team and the helmets?
I mean, you're right. It does look a little college-esque. And, but they're pretty limited. I was trying to think, like, how creative could they get? And, I mean.
It's either that or a W.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So it's like, I've seen where they had, I guess, some proposed happenings that, how much things would change. Maybe if they make the playoffs or maybe if they make the Super Bowl or something like that. I mean, how significant the changes would be in their appearance and different things like that. So I don't know. We'll see. But, hell, maybe looking like a college team might not be a bad idea.
Especially Alabama and Penn State, tradition-rich schools.
Right. So it's not a great look, but hey, let's go out and perform, and people will forget about what the helmets look like.
D-Dubs, I cannot wait to hear your take on this, dude. I literally sit around thinking, what can I do to poke D-Dubs? How can I engage with Durant Morrell? Because we know what opposites like. So I want to hear your thoughts, D-Dubs.
Well, you don't have to poke me today because I think those helmets are fire. I love the helmets. I love them, man. I think that yellow on that burgundy, I think it's fire. I love it. I was on one of my friends on Facebook. She's a diehard Washington football team fan. As soon as I saw it, I sent her the link. I said, I think this is fire. She agreed with me. I think it's better than Alabama's. Because Alabama has the maroon.
Stop playing. Stop, dude.
They got the maroon, and they got the little white. Everybody uses white. That yellow and that burgundy is fire. I love it.
It ain't Alabama, dude. That crimson, are you kidding
me? What is crimson? Come on, man.
Ooh, that's Alabama. Roll Tide, man. Don't do that. Don't be disrespectful.
The football team is good, but their uniforms are all right. Come on. What's special with
Mike Price would be proud of you saying that, man.
Mike Price.
Yeah.
What he did last the year, maybe?
Yeah, but you just said Roll Tide. That's what
that's Go ahead, D-Dubs, finish your thought, man.
Yeah, I love the helmet. I think it's really nice. I like the yellow, the numbers. It's different. There's only 2 teams in the NFL that have that kind of helmet. The Chargers have it as well when they want to wear that old style helmet with the numbers on it. No one else has it. And I just think it's a good look. I think the colors look. I think it's a great look with the colors. It's not like your regular white numbers. It's yellow, and I think to me it pops. When I saw the video with the burgundy and the yellow, to me it just popped with the yellow face mask. I like it. It's different.
I'll give you that.
It's different.
Alabama's pop because it's on a crimson helmet with the white letters, and then Penn State is classic too. That navy and blue, look, navy blue and white right here. Your team, the New York Yankees, the Bombers. I think Penn State looks pretty clean too. Hey Willie, come to our defense, man. So me and OG said, yeah, they
I'm shocked with
straight
Derwin,
fire.
though.
I know. I thought he was gonna tear him up.
I did too.
I like it. I think I like it, man. I really like it. Honestly, I think Willie, it's fire.
Break the tie, hey Willie. Break the tie,
man. To be honest with you, and
what else would you be?
Look, I'm trying to. Yeah, you want me to lie to you? Yeah,
just to lie to my face.
We tell the truth.
To tell the truth.
We tell the truth. I would say for me, especially working in the branding world, for me, and having a basketball slant in terms of fashion and things of that nature, it's okay to me. It's not fire to me. And so the colors are cool, but it's just not fire to me. But to OG's point, I just don't know if they could have done anything else given the predicament or the situation that they're in. But the good thing about it is a lot of people feel like, especially people that are fans, feel like D feels. So they need some positive press. And so now so that part of it is good. It's just ironic that they had such a kind of visually arresting look before with their logo, and to now they're really nondescript.
I ain't gonna lie, man. That old, the old, slur, I guess we'll call it. That's what it was. If the Native American people say it, damn it, it is.
Right.
I thought the logo looked good though. That helmet, it was one of the better helmets in the league. Now they look like, all right, y'all trying to be Alabama. You're not. I don't even think they can beat Alabama. No, I'm not one of those.
But they need.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying they need that positive press because, even when they launched the uniforms, man, they had a little gaffe where they launched the uniforms and had a soccer net in the background. So it's like, so when they you couldn't bother to Photoshop the soccer net out when you launch the uniforms.
Why can't you just take the damn picture on the field?
Right, yeah, facts, right. But
you got a practice facility in a damn stadium, you own.
Is owners not wanting to spend money, right?
Nah, I was gonna say when you strip somebody of a logo or a mascot for over years, I mean, it's like starting all the way over, and it's like, where do you go from there? Like literally, it's like point A all over again. So it was like, I mean, I guess I think of almost any organization, well, not any. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's. Because, any organization had to start over. I don't think you can really, be that creative. I mean, but like you said, a lot of people liked it, though. I mean, a lot of people like the Hammers other than Derwin. So, I mean, I think they in good shape. If they can get their fans to be excited before the season, then more, hey, they already won.
That's a win for them.
Yeah.
A couple of things also.
Real quick, though.
They're able to keep the colors. And you also remember that the the Washington football team, they have that R, that symbol R that they like to show sometimes. You get to keep that. People that have that logo of that R, that's if you keep it as the red tails, which will be kind of cool. You can keep it also with the colors. One of my friends said, if they could put a stripe maybe down the helmet, that would be kind of cool. But as OG said, when you had a logo for so many years, you can't rush this thing. The worst thing they can do is put out a new logo right now because it was rushed and it'd be a disaster. They have to take their time. If it takes a year, think about it, take your time. But in the meantime, they put some nice yellow numbers on that thing. They got some nice clean uniforms. They ready to go. If they can get some good play from the quarterback.
Or they could have come up with a logo and things of that nature. And if it didn't work out, hell, you could have 3 logos or 3 names in 3 years. Pretty much, or 3 in 2 years. Make more money.
Take their time with it. Take their time. There's no rush right now.
You're absolutely correct. I think this was the only call they could have made going, this close to the season. Unless they had something in the old back pocket, which I'm surprised they didn't. that's a subject for another day. Like, I'm sure we've been talking about this thing for about 10, 15 years now. But,
Yeah, but they never. Their owner
yeah,
was
yeah,
he was
yeah,
bully.
but
He didn't want to. He was never going to
that's
change
true.
it.
But it's like a it's like a GM, right? You always have a short list. You keep some names in your pocket, even if you have a great coach.
A smart GM.
Okay, Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft, you got Bill Belichick, right? Robert Kraft, you got Bill Belichick, right? 20 years strong, probably going to go another 5 to 10 years. I'm sure the Kraft family has a little list just in case Bill decides to walk away or whatever.
Kraft, Snyder. Kraft, Snyder. They're not the same. There you have your answer.
Good point. Yeah, that's, you know what? We'll move to the next subject. You won that round. Good point there. We'll keep it in the NFL. Your guys' thoughts? NFL with the hotline, a snitch line due to the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, players can call in anonymously to sort of snitch on other players, and they can, you know, sort of, you know, track those guys and keep up with those guys. Very reminiscent. Pretty much the same playbook, same structure, protocols from the NBA. We've seen that sort of work. A lot of people were on Twitter were talking about, well, Chris Paul wrote that one in the NBA. So I wonder who would be the face of this one in the NFL. You guys like this, the NFL hotline, and how similar is it to the National Basketball Association? We'll go with you, A-Dub.
Well, I think for me, the NFL one really sticks out because as much as it's about making sure that players are kind of going by the right protocols, I think you really need it so you can kind of police the organizations themselves, right? So when you're talking about what the teams are doing from a social distancing standpoint, because again, we know that teams loves gamesmanship. And, you know, one of the things that you read about or you see when they're talking about they're taking random NFL employees and they're saying, man, the coaches are the people that don't obey this stuff, right? So I think for a certain extent, you need to have some kind of safety protocols or something for the players can say, hey, you know what? This isn't really right. And really why it's needed as well is I know we're all familiar with what's going on like Colorado State when there are situations going on and players have to essentially go to the media because they feel like the university won't police the situation in terms of COVID-19 and things of that nature. So for me, especially with the gamesmanship and some of these anonymous employees have alluded to it with our teams following this, our coaches following this. I think it's funny, but it's needed.
OG, it didn't say anything about that in the press release about team employees and coaches. It said, here's a phone number for players to text to rat out other players. So I want to get your thoughts on that. Hey, Willie, always bringing it with the highbrow stuff, but I didn't see anything in there about employees and coaches and things of that nature.
Well, that's what the Players Association said.
Well, yeah, and so they can. Well, I guess the Players Association also can file grievances on the players' behalf as well. But the large majority of the text that I read was about snitching on players.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of lives involved. I mean, so I mean, they want to try to ensure safety as much as possible. I mean, but I mean, you got situations, and I don't like to keep bringing it up, but when people escaping bubbles and doing different things and stuff like that, I mean, a lot of players want to be able to have some players want to have a sense of being more safe and being able to call out if people are not adhering to the rules that's set or put in place. So, I mean, unfortunately, we have it. I mean, I can understand in a situation like this because I'm more about self accountability than anything, but obviously a lot of people are not. So, I mean, in this case, it can put people in jeopardy. So I think I don't look at it as a bad thing. I mean, as long as it's not being abused or people just overreacting to a lot of different scenarios. I mean, and then too, I do agree with the fact that even though we are dealing with COVID-19 and what's going on, coaches want to win. I mean, and they're going, they can sometimes push the envelope too with their players and different things like that. So I think anything that's put in place to ensure the safety of all involved is good. I mean, especially the players, because it's a ton of players that's involved in football versus, like I've been saying this a lot with all the other sports, there's not as many players that we have to worry about.
That's a good point. We're talking about the safety protocols and guidelines and things of that nature during this pandemic. All joking aside, that's important. But I mean, D Dubs, I look at this man, and I'm saying, players can text anonymously. I'd love to be a fly on the room, on the text hotline in the league office at Park Avenue or wherever the hell this is going to be. I'd love to see some of the exchanges. What does a snitch really say when he's trying to snitch? How does he communicate that? You know?
He's going to be like
What
AJ
is
and
snitch
Friday.
language? Yeah, what is snitch language? How does that go?
Oh no,
So what are the protocols? What are the snitch protocols? Like,
one of the teams down in Dallas had a party at a gentleman's club. You might want to check the tape.
Like, hey,
I don't know.
Number 15 for the Chiefs. I just saw him. He didn't wash his hands.
Yeah.
I mean, with the NFL, you have way more players that you have to deal with. I think the NFL, in my opinion, is a little bit more stricter than the NBA. And when you do something wrong in the NFL, you're looking at, you could lose draft picks, you could lose practice time. I've seen stuff like that happen when you're not following certain protocol, and you're going to have some teams that are going to try to get an advantage sometimes, and you got to police that. So I don't have any problem with this snitch line, as you call it. It might, hey, I mean, maybe MLB
when you can anonymously tell on someone, snitching.
I don't like the word snitch, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you got to be safe, you got your teammates you got to worry about. So would you not want to know if your teammate was running around?
Yeah, I'd like to know. I'd like for someone to snitch. See, I'm not walking away from it. Someone needs to snitch.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. I mean, it's one thing when somebody's doing something that's only going to harm themselves.
Right.
But if it's something that's potentially can harm everybody, then I mean, I guess if it's a perfect time to snitch, then I mean, I guess that's the time to snitch. But I mean, I was wondering how Durbin was going to ask, like when you said what snitch protocol, if he would have been like, well,
he's setting him up.
That's different. Now, finish your thought, Durbin. Like, now, what is like proper snitch protocol? Like, what is that?
What are you asking me? Like I was saying, I don't know.
It seems like you got a background in it. So you seem like you look like a whistleblower. So I'm just trying to figure it out.
See,
I
can keep a secret. I know, right? I can keep a secret.
Okay.
But hey, if it's another team though, and I can get an advantage, and I know that he went to club and he's not supposed to be there, somebody might get a phone call. Trying to look out for everybody else.
How would that phone call go? Like, first of all, I don't think you would call. You would text, right? Anonymously, you wouldn't call. You would text, right? Star number 15.
You could trace it. You could trace the text. Though.
Yeah, but at least it's not your voice.
I don't like leaving.
Yeah, but your voice, video, and audio is worse than text. You know what I'm saying? If you get caught doing something. I mean, we can all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
But they can always pull phone records and verify that's your phone. I don't know.
Well, but I'm just saying, if you're caught, whatever it is.
It's not even close. It's not even close.
Exactly. Anything in life, would you rather have video of you caught in the act, audio of you caught in the act, or text? Give me the text. That's the lesson.
Yeah, text, somebody could grab your phone and shoot a text, like,
And it's print. It's words.
True.
It's words.
Yeah.
Audio and video. Ooh.
Yeah.
I'd
be like, my son texts that. That won't me.
There you go.
Austin did that.
Go ahead.
I know the Patriots are going to test the boundaries of that.
There they go.
There'll be some gamesmanship there for sure.
Belichick's already said he doesn't care. It is what it is. They did this in college football and high school football, Rutgers in the 1800s.
Hey, check them Patriot them Patriot burners.
That's a good point. Yep, Deflate Gate, all that good stuff. Absolutely, you're right about that. We'll keep it moving. We'll stay in the NFL. John Gruden, the Raiders, played a nice little prank, pulled a fast one on the players of the Raiders. One of the assistant coaches came on a Zoom call and said, "Hey, John Gruden's not going to be here. He's got COVID," and it kind of caught the guys by storm, by surprise as well. Also came around the time that Doug Peterson was actually, I think it was right after Doug Peterson actually reported that he had COVID-19. Also, Sean Payton with the Saints, one of the two coaches that have reportedly had COVID-19. Well, not reportedly, they admitted so. They talked about it, so it's not reported anymore.
Right.
Your thoughts on John Gruden? It's such a Raiders thing, but
Come on,
I get it that
man.
they're trying to
Come on.
they're trying to show the players, look, this is serious. At any moment, any one of us can catch it. But only the Raiders would do it like that, where it's like it's a Raider thing. You know what I'm saying? It's an autumn wind, right? Just like a Raider, you know?
That's a Gruden thing.
That's a Gruden thing. It's a Chucky thing.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go with you first. Hey, Willie, your thoughts on that? It seems like, is that close to home with the Raiders? Don't tell me
Yeah,
that's your
man.
football
Hit a
team. Is that your
nerve?
football team?
Yeah, man.
That's your team?
Yeah.
Oh, you're long suffering, dog. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. But no, it's on brand for John Gruden. And one of the things, if your grandparents that come from the South, one of the phrases that was used was burning bread on somebody. So you don't want to say something and speak it into existence if it's bad. So for me, I wouldn't burn bread on me or somebody like with using COVID-19. But
So it's the opposite of breaking bread. Break bread, you want to do something. You want to hang
right,
out with somebody.
right.
Exactly.
Burning bread is if you say something,
Right.
say if you're late for something and you tell somebody that I was late because I was sick
Or in a
and
car
it wasn't
accident or
true.
something. Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
and then it happens, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I believe in that, and I wouldn't want to do that, but it's also on brand for John Gruden, man, because this is a dude that makes everything about himself, right? So it is on brand, and I get what the lesson that they're trying to teach, but for me, I that's especially knowing that we've had coaches that have contracted this disease, and we've
Sure.
had over 150 people pass from this disease.
Mhm.
That's not something I would play with.
Yeah,
Over
150,000.
150,000.
Absolutely, over
Yes.
150,000 dead in this country, over 4 million positive tests. D-Dub's two NFL coaches. We talked about it, Sean Payton, Doug Peterson of the Eagles, and Saints, respectively. There, Chucky, that's right up his alley, man. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't. I had a different take. I didn't have a problem with it because I sensed he was trying to teach them a lesson, and I
Sure.
think this might have been. For what I was reading, it was before Doug Peterson.
It was right
got-
before. Mhm.
Right before. So
But
he was
Sean
trying to
Payton
teach
had
them a
already.
le-
But Sean Payton was
Yeah.
positive.
But Sean Payton was a couple of months ago. You
Yeah, it
kind
was.
of I forgot about Sean
Sure.
Payton.
Yeah,
that he
exactly.
even had it until you brought it up. So this is something fresh in their mind. I'm pretty sure when they got word that Chucky had it, that the players had to be shocked. I mean, because it's hitting close to home now. That's your head coach. So it had to shock some of the guys, and it had to make them think, yo, this is serious, man. Our head coach has this. And then they were probably, relieved that he didn't have it. But then maybe a day or two later, they see another coach, Philadelphia Eagles, get it. So now it's like, okay, we got to really be careful and take this thing seriously and do everything that we have to do what the CDC says to do to be safe. So,
Yep.
Yeah, you don't want to play around with something like that, but I get there was a lesson in there, and I think he got his lesson across.
Yeah. OG, real quickly, over 60 players, I believe, so far have opted out. It's either 60 to 80, but definitely over 60 so far. Deadline passed today, by the way, 4 p.m. Eastern for players to opt out. Your thoughts on Chucky pulling a fast one on the Zoom call with the I was going to say Oakland, Vegas Raiders.
Vegas.
The first thing that I was thinking was that, I mean, of course, I don't mind it as like within the team. That's like something that, like within the internal, cool. But like, I mean, once stuff like that get into the public, it can be conveyed a lot of different ways. Me personally, I didn't take offense to it or anything like that. But I was just thinking, like, how do that stuff get out to the media? Like when it was something that was done between the coaches and the players. And that was the first initial thought that I had. But other than that, I mean, it's a lot of things that go on between guys and coaches and different things like that. I mean, and coaches have to use different strategies to get what they're trying to get across to their players. And I think as long as it's understood between them, I think it bodes well. I mean, the public perception can be whatever, but internally, if it works, then so be it.
Yeah. John Gruden tricking his players on a Zoom call, had an assistant coach as a stand-in. Well thought out, but I mean, it was like when I thought, I was like, okay, would a winning team do this? Probably not.
See, man. That's what happens
Sorry,
when you can
Willie.
be in the booth for 10 years and become the highest paid coach in NFL history, man.
Yeah, when you got 10
Hey.
years, $100 million, yeah, you can
Yes,
do
sir.
Hey,
crazy, stupid
but
things like
yes,
this.
sir.
you know why I laugh so hard? Because he was like, with a winning team. We know what winning teams do. Like, they do
Come
whatever.
on,
Like,
OG, man.
they do whatever it takes to win. Like,
All right, well, we'll keep it in the NFL. And speaking of a winning team, played on a winning team last year, Matt Breida, now with the Miami Dolphins, if I'm not mistaken, down in the MIA now. Had some interesting comments. We'll come back to Matt Breida. Let's go to the phone lines now. Here live on Esports Extra 877-853-5247. A meeting ID is Esports Extra 377-678-9872 at the pound button twice to join the show. Larry Ridley, SMI TV, little NBC Sports, little Madden NFL, little NBA 2K League. Got A. Willie, Antonio Williams, NBA scout, former NBA scout, former Nike guy as well. D-Dubs, Durant Worrell, fellow sportscaster, NABJ as well. Ivan Curtis, head coach, NBA 2K League's Brooklyn Nets gaming crew and GM there. Let's bring in good friend of ours, a friend of the show now. She is Kendra Douglas down at my old stomping grounds in the Magic Kingdom, Central Florida, West TV. Kendra, good Thursday to you. How are you?
Hey. Hey, how are you? I'm pretty pumped to be on this show. I'm excited.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We're excited to have you. Tell us, how are things down there in Central Florida? How have you assimilated down there in the Mouse House, the Magic Kingdom?
Oh, it's great. I mean, honestly, I think I came at the best time when everything was coming here. I'm still getting used to this rain. You didn't tell me that part. You didn't say like how to get used to that. So in the humidity, yeah, we're working on that. We're trying to find that agreement. But other than that, I'm loving how like sports are here, and you could just feel it in the air. The energy is insane.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you this, living in Miami and also Orlando, 2 stints in the Sunshine State, you can expect rain sometime early afternoon and then once again around 6 or 7 p.m. It's like clockwork down there, especially in the summertime.
Yes,
So get used to that.
it's going on now.
Oh, okay. Well, be safe. Take cover. We're glad that you're on the show. And we're talking to Kendra Douglas, West TV sports anchor, the NBC affiliate down in Orlando. Kendra, let's talk NBA bubble. From your perspective, being there in Central Florida, in the Orlando area, you got the bubble there. All of the 22 NBA teams are there. They're quarantined. No cases of coronavirus or any positive tests. They've done a good job in the association. What's been the sort of feel? Give us some flavor. Being in Orlando, I saw you in some pictures on Instagram, and I've seen some of the newscasts you guys covering the bubble down there for the NBC affiliate. How's it been covering the NBA now that it's there and once it started with the games last week on July the 30th?
It's been so cool. It's really cool to see them pull this off. I think that's what's been the neat part about it, is because you're like, all right, like I get it. But you're talking about Adam Silver, who I think really worked hard to make sure that like athletes were going to be taken care of. There were going to be ways to accommodate everything. And you're seeing it. Like you are feeling that they are making sure that everything is together. I did a story with the Magic equipment manager and just asking him, like what has it been like? And he's just saying, it's so cool. You wake up and you see, James Harden's playing cornhole, like with one of his teammates. You could go there, and then like you go downstairs, someone else is in the pool just chilling. Like it's like a college campus. That's kind of the feel that he told me, is like, it's like this vibe that everyone's just kind of in the same area, but they're doing a lot too. Like he mentioned that they're doing like a cornhole tournament. Like what? And like they're raising money for charity, and you're just like, they're really just living their own life, like a whole different life inside this bubble.
Yeah, good stuff. One of my favorites, of course, was seeing the erection there of the barbershop. Have you had it? Have you been able to put your eyes on the barbershop? I know my former colleague Taylor Rooks, she talked about it and went by there as well. Have you seen anything or any great stories from the bubble so far? Mine would be, of course, the barbershop there with 6 barbers, one of them from New York area, that's down there cutting hair and doing his thing down there in the barbershop.
One of them, I think, came from Miami, and another one came from Orlando. And I've been kind of talking with them, just, a little bit about what it's been like. And for them, it just seems like, I mean, they're in this too. They're kind of like, we're in this moment with them. Like, they can't go home. They can't just leave the bubble too. They're out there also. But it's like they kind of have an understanding. And I mean, who wouldn't want to, like, you know, just be in a room with all these NBA players, just hearing them talk and then cutting their hair and then seeing it on TV. I've been like a lot of their Instagrams are like posting these pictures of these guys, and it's really cool to hear them talk about their experience. It seems like they're just enjoying the moment too, but it's hard because they're there to cut hair, and I think, you know, family aspect of it all, they want to be home with their families too, but I think they see the end result is gonna help them out in the long run. I mean, that's gonna be a great clientele list.
I was about to say the end result is more money. You're gonna make more money cutting LeBron and James Harden than, you know, Ivan Curtis and Larry Ridley and Joe Smo and John Q. Public. So I think they made the right call on that. You're listening to and watching Esports Extra here, the only live call-in sports show talking traditional sports and esports here on Twitch, Facebook, and also YouTube. We'll take your phone calls live, 877-853-5247, meeting ID Esports Extra. Hit the pound button twice to join the show. We're talking here to Kendra Douglas, the West TV sports anchor at the NBC affiliate, my old stomping grounds in Orlando. All right, Kendra, let's talk about your team, the Orlando Magic, or when I was there, when Dwight left, we called them the Tragic. Talk to me about I have to throw it in there. Talk to me about Jonathan Isaac. Of course, hurt his knee early in the year because of the pandemic, was able to get back, only played in 2 games, hurt his knee again, had the ACL injury. How did that impact the team, and what's the buzz around the Magic now that he's gone? And also, we also saw as well, making headlines, standing for the national anthem, did not wear the Black Lives Matter T-shirt, and he gave his reasonings there, and also spoke about religious belief. He's a man of God. He's a minister as well. How did all of that sort of play out for you guys down there?
You know, what's interesting is that after the game, of course, those were the first questions they're asking him about that. And his teammates just stood behind his back. Steve Clifford had his back. They all had his back. And I think that one shows you the unity of this team, because I think they knew. I think it wasn't a surprise for them. I think they knew going into it what he was going to do. So you could kind of feel the vibe that they were like, it is what it is. It's his choice. He's playing. I mean, let's be real here. He was like, when he came back, he was dishing buckets. So, you know, I can imagine the guys are kind of like, I get it. I get why you guys are asking questions, but we just won this game and we just killed Sacramento. So, you know, so you kind of could see that they're here for, they're trying to play. They still want to, of course, use their platform to help out with everything going on. But they had his back, and you could just tell that no one was surprised that the questions were going to be asked about that. I mean, he wasn't either. I think he said what he said, and, you know, now we know that his jersey sales have gone up. And after that, I feel bad for him when it comes to the ACL tear, because, again, he did work really hard. I mean, before this, Steve Clifford was talking about how he was in the gym twice a day. He was getting rehab twice a day. He was just working out because he wasn't even supposed to come back. Like, let's just be real here. He wasn't even supposed to come back. And then he did phenomenal for the team. And now he's out with an ACL tear. And let me tell you, I tore my ACL in college, and it's brutal. It's not fun. It's hard to get back. You have to relearn how to walk. I'm not trying to scare people, but like, it's true. You have to relearn how to walk. You have to relearn how to like move your legs again. Like, it's going to be a struggle for him. But I think if anyone can handle this, and if anyone can get back to it, it's definitely J.I. So he seemed like he was in good spirits. He talked to the guys. He was, you know, like, this is okay. Like, you know, he brought his faith into it. So I think he'll be back. But I do think, especially with Aaron Gordon going down in yesterday's game, I think the Magic have a lot on their plate. They play Philly, and I think that's going to be a very hard team too. And then they play the Nets again, so maybe they'll get that break. But they've got a lot that they need to work on before they take on the 76ers for sure.
Well, they've got a little lead here over the Wiz, so I'd like to see the Magic get into the playoffs and start sort of building this, you know, nucleus here, this young talent, and get into the playoffs for another year. Real quickly, you were just talking about it. J.I. won the jersey sales, not number 1, but number 2, right behind LeBron James. You got to think, Kendra, do you agree that, you know, standing for the national anthem, you've got some people out there that are like, hey, he's our guy now. He's the face of the national anthem and standing for it. How much did that help him, and how much you think that has playing into the calculus here when it comes to the jersey sales being number 2 for on the last week or two?
It's hard because I honestly do think that I think his heart's in a good place, and I think he's a good athlete. It's just tough to see all this come into play. Numbers speak, like the numbers are showing. You're right. Like his jersey is behind LeBron. What is that saying? But I mean, I think LeBron said it best. Like, they're all out there to play, and and if they have this platform that they can use, that they're going to continue to do it while they're out there. So you just gotta, I don't know, keep it moving. And just he said what he had to say. He's going along with what he's going with, and his teammates support him. So it's just go out there and play basketball and do your best that you can. But I don't know. It's just interesting. It's for sure interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 2 in jersey sales. I do like the fact that this is his faith. He did admit that Black Lives Matter. I got no problem with him standing for the anthem. He's all about equality. So, hey, he's an ordained minister now. He's spreading the word. He's spreading the gospel. Got no problems with JI1 out there. Guys, any questions before we let Kendra go? She's got important things to do down there in Orlando. Probably like a dinner break, right? You working tonight, Kendra?
I'm chilling tonight, but I still would like to eat too. So
fire away, guys, real quickly.
Kendra, what team since the bubble started, which team has impressed you the most?
Ooh, I think the Clippers have impressed me. And I think the Raptors, well, only because the Raptors are coming in with a chip on their shoulder in a sense where I don't think people are really looking at them like that, even though they won last year. But I think, and on top of that, Fred VanVleet, I think he's a phenomenal player, and I think he's got something to prove. I covered him when I was in Kansas, and so it was kind of really cool to hear his bet on himself mentality. And so the Raptors for sure. And on top of that, the man's trying to get paid, so I think he's definitely going out. And then, of course, I have to say TJ, just because I'm from Raleigh, and that's a Raleigh native right there. And that is legit the man that's going off in the bubble. Like, did we honestly expect that? Like, did y'all see that coming? Because
No.
I don't think any of us saw any of this coming.
Yeah, put a 50-piece the other day for the Pacers. So good stuff there. Kendra, really appreciate it. Thank you for taking out some time. We will definitely lean on you. Don't be a stranger to the program, and anything that has to deal with Central Florida sports in Orlando, we will definitely reach out to you. But congratulations on the new job. You're killing it down there, and I look forward to watching you and speaking with you down the road again soon.
Appreciate you.
All right, have a good one. That is Kendra Douglas, sportscaster, TV anchor for West TV in Orlando, the NBC affiliate, joining us here live on Esports Extra to talk a little NBA, bubble, Magic, and anything else. Guys, any takeaways from Kendra's call there that stood out to you, A. Willie?
One of the things that really, when I saw that with J.I., when you start looking at a guy that's had some injury issues even before this particular moment, and of course, this is the most serious of those. One of the things I thought about is immediately, what does this do? Because he's eligible for an extension coming up when the season starts again, like around October. So he's eligible for that if we go with the same timing in terms of the fiscal year. So one of the things you always look at that when you see a guy that comes back, and I say this a lot with players, that you really have to save them from themselves. And I referenced this living in Chicago. I saw this happen with Derrick Rose, where there were serious issues that he was having as a guy that tore his Achilles, right? I had knee issues before that. I tore my calf, all these things that are telling me to go sit down somewhere, and I didn't do it, right?
Sit your hot, you know what, down.
That's exactly right. And then something major happened. So that year when Derrick Rose tore his ACL the first time, that first day in the playoffs, same day Iman Shumpert did, there were 66 games that year. D Rose missed 25 of them, right? So with that being said, when you have that caliber of guy, or you have a guy that is that good of a player, that important to your development as a franchise, and we're seeing this with Zion Williamson with them monitoring minutes, you got to save these guys from themselves, because we're taught to power through, be competitive. We're going to always play through anything. So you got to save these guys from themselves.
Yeah, good stuff. Zion did play a little bit more. He was averaging, 14 minutes, because they wanted to keep him under 15. The first two games finally came out that last game there, but you're absolutely right with that, A. Willie. OG, D-Dubs, real quickly, 30 seconds here. Want to jump in? Anything on Kendra before I move to the next topic?
Man, Go ahead.
Go
Good.
ahead.
OG,
Go ahead, OJ.
No, well, what
OG.
I was gonna say is, you know, the Isaac situation. Like she said, it was interesting because my thing is, I didn't disagree with his take on his stance
No.
or anything like that. The funny thing about it is, you know, I was reading on a lot of posts and different things like that where they were supporting him, but once again, there's a lot of people support for him doing that was twisting the narrative of the whole Black Lives Matter, and that was the part that was like that I hate that to see is like I didn't have a problem with him doing anything and choosing to do what he did, but when people are taking what he's doing and twisting it, that was the only thing I didn't like, and then it was like I mean, and it made me think like resonate with the jersey sales and different things like that. Now, I mean, he happened to get hurt not too far after that. So I mean, and he seems like a great guy. Obviously, I don't know him, but
He's
I mean,
good
a
guy.
great guy.
He's a
So
good guy.
all that stuff that happened the way it did, I mean, and maybe in support of those jersey sales, is just a lot of people showing compassion about him getting hurt and everything like that. So
Yeah, good stuff. D-Dubs, go ahead, real quick.
Yeah, I feel awful for the guy. He's gone through this before, and he knows the road he's got to go through again. It sucks. And the one thing I didn't like about it, I saw a lot on social media. I saw people mocking him, mocking his faith. You know, things to the nature of, well, you stood up for X, Y, and Z, but God wasn't there to help you. You know, just stuff like that really bothered me. Just to see people do that to him because, you know, he chose to stand. He didn't want to kneel. And he has his own beliefs and own convictions about it. And I think it should have been just left alone. I don't think that he should have been mocked for doing, you know, for standing.
I
That's the
agree.
one
And
big thing I took from it.
I will say this too. Did not like whether you know disagree with him standing or not. I think he had a valid reason for standing for the anthem. Look, this is a man of God. He's not playing sides. He wants to see everybody make it. All lives matter to him in that sense.
And
Um,
he's done the work in the
and and
community
and
as
and,
well.
and he's walking the walk. Now, look, I do
Yeah.
have issues with some people that hide behind religion. And it's like, okay, you're being hypocritical. Like some of these, you know, like we'll talk about politics. Some of these Republicans that hate LGBTQ people and their rights, but in bathroom stalls trying to get gay sex and stuff. It's like just stop with the nonsense. But I will say this: I did have a problem with some people out there mocking him for being hurt and saying karma and stuff. That is totally unfair. Let's not do that. We're
definitely.
not five. Let's not do that stuff. We wish him a speedy recovery, and we want to continue to see him, shine and be a light in the NBA and be one of God's children and be one of his disciples and do the work out there. I've got no problem with anything that JI1 has done down there in Orlando. Keep it in the NBA real quickly. KD predicting his NBA Finals. Guys, want to get your thoughts on this. He's got Clippers and Bucks in the finals, and he's got the clip joint winning it all. Is Kevin Durant right? Who will be in your finals and who's going to win it? We'll go with you first, A. Willie, because you tried to hedge the other day. And if KD ain't going to do it, what makes you think you going to do it?
No, I told you from the get-go that, of course, the Lakers are the team I want to win, but I think the Clippers are the strongest team. And so KD's two teams that he chose to represent the Eastern and the Western Conference, respectively, are the two teams that I think will be there. I think ultimately the Clippers will win it.
Fair enough. OG, Kevin Durant says Clippers, Bucks in the finals. Who you got in the finals and who's going to win it?
Well, let me say this. I'm glad that he signed for 4 years because I'd almost started to think he's talking about the next team he might be going to. So,
oh, boy.
But I mean, it's funny you said the Clippers and the Bucks. I mean, because a lot of people have been challenging them in this during these games. Obviously, where some mean more to other teams than it does to them. But I like the Clippers, but because I think they're deep. They're a deeper team once everybody gets back into the flow of everything. I mean, so I mean, I'd say the Clippers too. I mean, I just think because of depth. I mean, I always have a theory that the superstar players get you to the championship, but the role players, they contribute. They play a factor in you winning or losing. And a lot of people overlook that a lot of times. But to me, I think it's prevalent how role players play when those superstars are not on the court every single minute in the finals.
Well, we've seen that from Robert Ory to Kenny Jet Smith with the Rockets and things of that nature in the
The
past.
Raptors
Andre
last year.
Yeah,
Iguodala.
The
yeah,
Andre
Raptors last
Iguodala.
year, I think
yeah,
they got
absolutely.
max. When
Yep.
teams win championships, I think they most of the time they get the max out of everybody that hits the floor.
Well, I mean, they're a team. They're a complete
Yeah.
team. That's why they win. So they can afford to have bad. The top guys have bad games. I remember that Celtic squad. Rondo played out of his mind in the playoffs, and he was the fourth wheel on that team. So Kendrick Perkins played phenomenal defense. So we've seen it. You pick a team. We've seen it. D-Dubs, your thoughts in the finals? KD's got Clippers and Bucks. I want to know who's in your finals and who wins the finals.
I'm going to go with Toronto and Portland.
Whoa! Now that, ladies and gentlemen,
yeah, I'm not going to go chalk.
Take.
Yeah, I'm not going to go chalk like everyone else. And, at least, we came up with who we thought, because I'm not going to, Renee didn't want to pick a team. She picked LA yesterday. So we're not going to forget that.
Pick that city.
Then she texted the Kevin Durant stuff, making it kind of seem like, oh, this is what I'm trying to say. But
say,
you didn't say that.
You didn't say it when you had the chance. But, I would love, maybe it's a fantasy, I would just love to see Carmelo get one. And I like the way Portland's playing. Damian Lillard. I like the way the team is playing right now. And I honestly,
how many games they out, Derwin? Man.
Well, they're still,
two.
I think
They
like one or two
went
behind the eighth.
Yeah.
Because the
And
Grizz
then
have lost 4 straight. They're 0-4 in the bubble.
And the Grizz they have a killer schedule.
Whoa.
I mean, the NBA did them no favors.
You're right, and that's why they were bitching and moaning about it.
Yeah.
Now see what Ja was talking about. I'm like,
it's a setup. I just like what Portland's doing. They got, like I said, Lillard. This guy, he has no fear.
Bubble Mello playing good.
Yeah,
I agree. I like that, though. I said though, if they,
but they'd have to beat like the Lakers.
I'm not impressed with the Lakers.
Like the Rockets, like
the Western Conference.
That's
boy.
Can they beat one of them? Yeah, but they're not good enough to beat all 3 of them. That's the thing. Can they skin one? Yes, but not all 3.
But if they skin the number 1, that's big enough.
Number 1, okay. Well, but then you got.
All bets are off.
No, you probably have to beat the 1, probably the 4, and then the 2.
They got to beat Denver. Yeah, they got to beat Denver. Beat Denver. Beat the Clippers.
You have to beat the Lakers. Then you have to beat like Denver or Houston, and then like the Clippers.
It's possible.
It is possible.
These can happen. That's why I'm picking them. I'm going out on a limb.
That's what I'm do. That's
I'm out on that limb.
That's Hail
Write
Mary
it down.
Right
That's what I'm right. Yeah. Nah. Okay. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. We will see.
I like Portland too.
I think they got the depth. Yeah. Like they have depth too. I mean, but like
Nurkic's playing good. Yeah,
it's what Larry said. They have. I mean, it's a gauntlet. It's a gauntlet that they have to go through.
No Jeezy.
Go ahead, OG.
No, I'm saying it's a gauntlet that they have to go through. Then you getting great play out of teams like Denver. I mean, where Porter is back, and I mean like different things like that. So that West, I mean, it's still going to be brutal. And the one thing about Memphis, I mean, their schedule is brutal, but don't be at the bottom. You don't have to worry about that. I mean,
easier said than done.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
But no Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, that's
exactly. I thought initially.
That's big.
Yeah.
But Portland, I think is a good call, but it's a long way for them to even get to the Western Conference Final.
One series at a time.
Yeah, but yes, look, we've seen 8s beat 1. We've seen 8s beat a 1. But think about this, Derwin. Mm-hmm. If you have to put your money, your life, or your house on the line, beat the Lakers. Then you got Denver or Houston. And then you got the Clippers. And then you think they would beat the Bucks or the Raptors or the Celtics in the finals? That's 4 of the top 6 teams in the whole damn league they'd have to run through. Can it be done? Yes.
Hey.
Is it likely? Hell no.
I think they got the best. They got the best front court chance to play with the Lakers. I mean, because they got the size. They can match size for size. I think they're bigger sometimes than the Lakers. So I mean, that's what the first thing I thought about. I mean, the one thing, and most of the time when LeBron's successes for any team he played on is do the shooters make shots. I mean, because that's primarily how he plays the game, is he facilitates. And I mean, but this Laker team has been able to bail out a lot because they have a lot of size, and sometimes you got JaVale, like you had JaVale in the game with Howard, and I mean, so they got good size. I mean, to bail out and get a lot of junk buckets to help, keep them scoring in the half court when shooters are not always making shots.
Well, and they haven't been making shots. That's the
Right.
thing. They haven't looked good here in these 4 games. What are they, 2-2, I believe?
2-2,
something like
2-2.
that. Yeah, but that's the problem. They're looking like a jump shooting team.
I
It's
think
like,
they'll bounce back tonight because they're playing against small ball, unless Harden, them guys catch fire. It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the Lakers are shooting like under 30% or right around 30% from 3. And you got AD hit some big shots in their last win, but I mean, he's taking step back threes. I mean, it looks pretty, but it's like, look, if you guys want to win, we need you on that post. Now, if you're taking wide open threes, I got no problem with that. But contested step backs and one-on-one plays, it's like, okay, that's not in the flow of the game.
If I was playing the Lakers, I'd rather him be doing that than to be playing around the bucket.
Absolutely. And we know he can hit those shots. So that's when you know you're a special player. Let's go back to the NFL. We were talking about it right before Kendra Douglas call. Matt Breida, need for speed. Little Ricky Bobby here. Man, if you ain't first, you're last, right? He's got the Lambo. But dude, he said he's the fastest player in the NFL. Now, yes and no. Yes, next-gen stats. He had the fastest time last year. I think right over 22 miles an hour in 2019. Also at the fastest time as a ball carrier in 2018. You got to go back to 2017 or 16 when the Cheetah did. Now, he's got the fastest time in the last few years. He was over 23 miles an hour, but that was on a kick return with the Chiefs, I want to say in 17 or 16, so 3 or 4 years ago. So Breida's right, and he's also wrong. Who is the fastest guy in the NFL? Because when you look at Matt Breida, that 83-yard run he had against, I want to say the Browns in Monday Night Football to put them on the board, that first one, wow. Dude, I mean, he ate up the stagger. He ate up everything there. That guy, that safety looked like he was running in quicksand, but we've seen what the Cheetah can do. Who you got, Breida or the Cheetah? Hey, Willie?
Man, it's funny for me. It's all about, and we all know this, between being fast in pads, right?
Right.
And both of these guys are fast in pads.
And there's running from the cops fast too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right. And then, but we'll also have guys like Jerry Rice that run the 40, and then you get them in pads, and nobody's ever caught him, right? So, but for me, if my money was on it, I would have to say it's the Cheetah.
Probably.
I would say he's the fastest guy in the NFL because he's fast with pads too.
Sure. Derwin, interesting. I see that smirk on your face. What are you going to come up with here? What? Okay.
It's Cheetah. It's not a question for me. I mean, a lot of times the Cheetah, he gets through that, he catches the ball, he's clowning, he got the 2 fingers up, he's saying peace and waving to guys.
Matt Breida's been giving the peace symbol to people too. Go check his highlights out.
That was my thing. My take on it was who's ever suiting up and running that day. I mean, 22 miles, 23 miles, them brothers is fast, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like I said, whoever's running that day. I mean, of course, I'll probably say the Cheetah too, but I mean, that type of speed they have is just, I mean, it's wicked. I mean, so it doesn't, I mean, I'll take either one. I think both of them get you to the end zone. So
That's true. That's true. In a hurry too. Quick in a hurry. I agree. I think we're all in agreement on this. I've got the Cheetah too. Look, when your name is the Cheetah, but maybe Matt Breida gets a new nickname. Maybe we call him Lambo or something. I don't know.
Right.
1,200 horsepower.
Man, I'm telling you, just do me a favor when we log off, go look at the run he had against the Browns. That was an NFL defense, guys. Nobody was nowhere near him.
Was it?
They could have been running. They could have been running. They could still be running, and nobody. Well, that's true. It is the Browns, but it is an NFL defense. And I was like, wow. And the safety had an angle on him, and it still didn't matter. So, like I said, Matt Breida's right, and he's also wrong. So, but hey, next gen stats said he had the fastest time last year, and also the year before. So. Matt Breida doing some fast things in the NFL. Let's go to the collegiate game. I guess we can call it the minor leagues. I don't like calling it the minor leagues because these guys are making major league money for the NCAA and these member institutions. So it should be a major league team. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that. NCAA fall sports. They were building us up like they were going to make this big announcement. Really had nothing to pertain to Division I. They're going to kind of shelve that. Although I think the cat's out of the bag. There's nothing they can do about that. We might see the Group of 5 break away. This might be an opportunity for that.
Yeah.
we'll get into that another time. But no, actually, we can talk about that now if you want to. Division 2 and Division 3 fall sports have been postponed or canceled. If you want to look at that this year, was that the right call? And what the hell took them so long? They could have made this call in March or April.
I thought the conferences pretty much already said that, because I thought it was a foregone conclusion. D2 and D3 weren't playing anything.
Sure.
Because I was looking at, CIAA, SIAC, even the MEAC, which is D1, but no one, unless you're the Power 5, no one's playing football. And football for a lot of these schools is the moneymaker. So no one's playing football. No one's playing any fall sports, basketball. It's just the Power 5. They're the only ones trying to hang on. And for a couple of conferences, I know we're going to get into the Pac-12, that's in jeopardy. So honestly, I would like it if nobody played, because these, especially with the football teams, these guys that are going to go in the draft next year, what do you have to lose? What are you playing for? Because if you decide to opt out, your draft stock is not going to change, really. You're going to stay in the same spot for the most part. You don't have to risk injury.
Well, it's also like basketball, too. It's like, well, they got more tape on you, so they can only criticize your game. So it's actually a good time to come out.
Well, you know what? But
no, I'm agreeing with you. That's what I'm saying. It's actually a good time to come out.
And I've been thinking about this for a while. The 32 teams next year come draft time. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to make mistakes drafting, because they will not have been able to see a lot of these guys play. No D2 players, no D3 players. Some of the Division 1 players are not going to play. So they're going to have to go back and look at 2019 film. And I think this is where your scouts, and they really could probably speak to this, this is where your scouts are going to really have to make their money. How they're going to have to bang on the table for some of these guys that didn't play in 2020. I just think, like, there's a kid today there's a kid from Purdue, there's a kid from Minnesota. There's no need for them to go out there, and there's no incentive for them to go out there this fall and play football. Just get ready for the draft. Do your online stuff to get your degree. Be done with it. Don't go out there and risk any kind of injury, because a lot of these leagues they're not really sure what they want to do or how they're going to keep the players safe. So why even risk it? I don't think they lose any draft spot. If you're a first-round draft pick, you're still going to be a first-round draft pick, even if you don't play.
But that's the thing. There's only 32 of those. So, when you got, almost 130, I think maybe 132. It's either high. It's right around 130. You multiply that times 100 players. So you're looking at what? I don't know, 13,000 players right there. So guys want to play. People still have dreams, but you're spot on when it comes to that. OG, your thoughts here? Division 2, Division 3, fall sports canceled.
I'm like you. I mean, if I felt like they could have made this decision a while ago. I mean, it's kind of obvious right now that the only schools that were even going to play or do anything was the power conferences. So I just still find it interesting because you see high schools. Like, I don't know in a lot of other people's area, but I know, like, back home, teams are still practicing. And actually, I've seen some teams put out their schedule where they're only playing conference games. They're not playing like non-conference games or whatever, similar to the Power 5 setting. So I mean, it's kind of interesting because, like, I even made the statement, even if you play conference games, they're still road games. Like, you still have to travel. So I don't know. It's real tricky. I mean, with everything. I mean, I feel like if high school, I almost feel like if high school teams are going to play, then what's the difference? Like, I mean, and I guess that's why I brought that up, because I haven't seen any cancellation back home yet.
Sure.
They may come.
They push things back, but they've changed the schedule. But you're right, they're playing.
Teams still practice. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know. I feel conflicted about it. I mean, because I hate for the people who are not who don't get a chance to play, and you're gonna have to watch other people playing the same sport that you play. But you can't play though, so it's I know it's not surprising, but I mean, just the way it was handled just seemed a little funny to me.
Hey Willie, a year can mean so much to a lot of different athletes out there. It could be the difference between, life-changing money, a great opportunity in the professional ranks, and being a has-been, being a regular Joe working at Target. You know what I'm saying? Like, These are real life consequences here. So I'm conflicted. I'm torn too because, like, I respect this pandemic. I really do. I know people are suffering. People are getting sick. People are freaking dying. But I also understand, man, it's kind of like when someone dies, right? The earth still spins on its axis. Life goes on. How do we kind of, deal with
balance
that?
it.
How do we
Yeah.
balance that?
Yeah, no, it totally. Am in complete agreement because, especially when you start talking about those Division II and Division III players, and
How do they get
every
scouted? They
right,
need
how
the
do they
tape.
get scouted? Right. So for them, this is very, very important because we see every year, whether it's first round, second round, third round, a guy that played at the NAIA level, Division II, Division III, and they sneak up the draft boards, and you see that. And so one of the things that'll be important, especially for them, because most of them are seniors, if we do this 2-week senior day, senior bowl thing that they're talking about, where they're going to extend the Senior Bowl and make it like 2 weeks.
Good point.
Yeah, I think that's something that will really play in their favor. And those players that are in those power conferences, the one thing that's different that makes football scouting, and none of this is easy, none of this is objective, and it's inexact. But one of the things that football guys have to their advantage that we don't have is when a person has to be at least a junior or a redshirt. They're redshirt sophomores, so they've been on campus for 3 years. You have at least 2 to 3 years worth of work or tape to watch on them. Oftentimes for us, we'll send players now that will go to IMG after their senior year, and we're charged with having to draft them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 overall, right? So there's a little more of a sample size for those guys, but nonetheless, to evaluate as a scout, to evaluate strictly off of tape, is very, very tough. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, good point. That's why I love having you guys on the show. All three of you guys just make me think right there. With your takes and your positions on that. But we talked about it. It's a it's a difficult situation. It's a delicate balancing act that we're all trying to sort of get through here. I just feel sorry for these Division II and III guys because they need all the damn tape they can get. I know that they're going to have spots in the Senior Bowl, but you know how that is. That's going to be eaten up by the big college guys. A lot of these guys, this is it. Those hidden gems, it's tape. Yeah, a guy, might run a fast 40, but what about this kid at this small school that's got 18 sacks? I know he might be a little undersized, but damn it, let me look at the tape. Maybe this is somebody we can work with. Just all of these different scenarios out there. I, it's lost now, and I feel sorry for them. We'll keep it in college football. Pac-12, the boycott. We talked about that last week. Some news just came down. I want to say a couple of hours ago. Of course, the Pac-12, some of the athletes, hundreds of them throughout the conference, football players and other athletes, boycotting, trying to get their sort of health and social justice demands met. Well, the NCAA has agreed at least. Well, they admitted yesterday when they talked about the COVID testing and things of that nature. The NCAA have the board of directors agreed to meet 3 player demands, honoring scholarships for student athletes who opt out of playing the season due to COVID-19 reasons. That was mentioned yesterday. Not allowing schools to have their athletes sign COVID liability waivers and requiring schools to pay for student athletes COVID-related medical expenses there. So I thought that was huge. So you at least got the NCAA acquiescing and also hearing out and meeting some of those concerns out there. Your thoughts on the Pac-12 players boycotting? I know a lot of people said, "Oh, it's great, it's noble, too little, too late." I saw a lot of that on the internet and a lot of stories, but I'm like, it ain't never too damn late. It ain't too late to go back to school, is it? Right?
Right. Right.
Go ahead, OG.
I mean, we talking about the Pac-12, right?
Pac-12 boycotting, yeah.
My whole thing with a lot of things that's going on right now is that everything was cool when people are ignorant and like don't know what's going on about everything. And far as college athletes and different things of that nature, I feel like everybody is like, just be happy you got a scholarship and you go to college and you play sports and you get all this and X, Y. But universities get tons and tons and tons of benefits from a lot of these athletes, and that's the only thing that I can think about is like
millions of dollars.
Yeah, they're not asking. I don't feel like that they're asking for a lot or anything like that. I mean, I think it's pretty reasonable. So it's like, I mean, okay, you had the blinders on these kids for years, and now the blinders is off, and like, let's work together. I mean, simple as that, because it's starting to show that. I mean, the players right now that like really go to college, and some of them they go there because that's where they have to go in order to get to the pros. I mean, some of them go to college because they want to get a degree and everything like that, and that's fine. But I mean, it's a lot of loopholes that's being created. So the NCAA, so for those who want to bypass the NCAA, to bypass it. So I think really the NCAA needs to work better with their student athletes and everything, and come together as one. I mean, I know that's easier said than done because we're talking about billions
Sure.
that's involved, but I think that's the best way for it to be, because, like I said, our athletes are not blind anymore. They see what's going on, and these are the same kids that help produce tons of money, publicity, and everything like that. And half the time they can't eat. They have to. It's illegal for them to get an extra meal or to get anything like that. So a lot of this, like, the back and forth sometimes to me just doesn't make sense. Let's find a median and make it make sense.
D-Dubs, you look at these athletes making all of this money, generating, hundreds of billions, if not billions of dollars in revenue a year. I think it might be time, man, to start paying these athletes. That's the only thing that is left. You have to pay these athletes. There needs to be some sort of revenue sharing.
Yeah, I mean, these players finally are recognizing they hold the power. NCAA or the big Power Five conferences, they really can't do anything without.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Go
kids.
find some co-eds at on the University of Kentucky or at Rutgers to go play football in front of 100,000 people?
If all these guys,
ain't nobody buying that.
If everybody decides to opt out, what is the Pac-12 going to do? They're stuck. They need the kids, so they have to listen. And I'm glad that these kids are making them come to the table finally. And hopefully the kids stand fast, get what they need, and get what they want, and
better get that money. It's the only thing left. Go get it.
They got the leverage. Hold their feet to the fire. If you don't, get this thing rolling to what we want and what we need, there's not going to be any Pac-12 football. I just leave it plain and simple as that. And let's see what these presidents of these universities do. But I'm glad to see that these guys are unified, the whole Pac-12 with the players and some of these leaders. Hopefully they can get exactly what they want.
Hey, Willie, the big thing, of course, the NCAA Board of Directors agreeing, at least meeting 3 of those requirements with the COVID-19 testing, keeping the scholarships, allowing the athletes to opt in or opt out and not have to worry about retribution, I guess, if you will, because we saw what the dumb Washington State coach was trying to do to a receiver out there. So your thoughts on this, hey, Willie?
No, I think it's good. And, when you're looking at these players, when you had those 11, one of the things that I liked about those 11 players is you go down the list, you're looking at guys that were walk-ons, you're looking at guys that are all Pac-12. You also, the big thing that stood out to me is that there were a lot of guys that are part of that group of 11 that are academic All-Americans. So these are people that have thought this through, right? And they're not, it's not willy-nilly, this is not emotion. They have thought this through. And so that really resonated with me. And also, too, one of the things also, when they were fighting for that healthcare, especially for COVID-related things, it made me immediately think about what the players in the NFL are fighting for and how it seems like the healthcare part of it always kind of gets down on the low part of the list. And if you are an NFL player, you should probably try to get lifetime healthcare, right, for the sport that you play.
Major League Baseball, you play in one game, you're taking care of the rest of your life.
Exactly.
One game.
Right. So to see these guys fight for that was very smart. And then to the point what D made about the players recognizing their leverage. We're talking about revenue here. When you start looking at the Power Five and then potentially breaking away, well, if you start raking this out from a football perspective, the Pac-12, and this pains me to say this as a West Coast guy, hasn't been relevant for a long time.
No, they haven't.
It's been lacking, and that
just one appearance or maybe two in the college football playoff. Right. Oregon and Washington, and both of them got cold drug.
Exactly, and it manifests itself at from a revenue standpoint. So the fact that these players that actually makes their position even stronger, and the fact that they're exercising it, it's great. It needs to be done. And again, the COVID-19 has really exposed the NCAA and this business model.
Absolutely. It's good to see these players get a little relief. But keep going, guys. Don't stop here. Get that money. That's
No
what it's all
question.
about.
No doubt.
We'll keep it on the college football gridiron. Rashad Bateman, for folks that don't know that name, receiver, University of Minnesota, very highly touted receiver. Looked on some draft boards, OG, A Willie, D Dubs. We're talking top 5, top 6 guy.
Right.
Definitely a first round talent. 1,200 yards last year. 11 or 12 TDs. Pretty bad dude. Receiver opting out here. We talked about Farley, the defensive back, who I think will be a first round at Virginia Tech last week. Now we got a defensive end, the top defensive end from Miami, the linebacker at Penn State, who some people said they said that kid might be the best linebacker in the country. Period, regardless of classification. He's opting out as well. You guys' thoughts on this? We'll keep it on the Rashad Bateman, but some of these high profile or starting to trickle in and deciding to opt out and prepare for the NFL. Durbin, you've talked about this. You've been beating this drum, I think, accurately as well.
Bateman, 6'2", 210-pound wide receiver. You liked his dimensions. There's no reason for him to go out there this fall with the NCAA. They don't know how they're going to protect these players. There's no need for him to go out there and risk anything.
1,200 yards, 12 TDs. Yeah, you good. You can go.
He got enough film.
I mean,
just look at
that.
Go look at my 2019 film. I'm good. Get ready for the draft. Do all your virtual stuff. To get your degree and finish that up, and go to the combine in February, and get drafted. You don't want to go out there and there's just no reason for him to even risk anything. And you see a lot of these other players that are highly regarded. It's not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk of getting an injury. It's not worth the risk of COVID-19. It's a serious thing. It's a safe and a smart thing to do financially, and it's the best thing for them to do.
Well, I also like the fact, OG, bring you in here. I like the fact that Minnesota was gracious. They thanked him on all their social media platforms. He had a pretty a nice statement, an eloquent statement as well, a video. So it looks like they were all, look, the coach knew, look, God gave us everything he had. 1,200 yards, 60 catches, 12 TDs. Selfishly, I'd like for him to stay, but come on. Guys earned it. Get out of here, man. Enjoy it. And that's what it's all about. I see this in the media game, how people get stifled. Oh, we don't want you to go. Man, no, we want you to go to the network. We want you to go work in these big markets. It makes us look good. You're supposed to sort of cultivate the talent, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, and then, like right now, unemployment is 40 plus million people. I mean, the job market is shifting. These guys have prepared pretty much their whole lives to become professionals. And I mean, he's put in the work. He's did all that. I mean, so he has to strategize what he wants to do with his future. I mean, and it makes perfect sense. I know a lot of times we get caught up in always having to be athletes, entertainers, and different things of that nature. But for whatever it is, you cultivate your craft, you perfect it so you can have a chance at generating some wealth. And I mean, this young man has the opportunity to do that. And I don't see anything wrong with it. And like you said, anytime you're a part of something, it should be pushing for growth and people to be able to move on to bigger and better things. So, and especially it's kind of personal to me. I actually got a kid at Minnesota that I coached, and he plays receiver.
Now he gets some playing time.
Yeah, he might get a chance to crack. I think he'll just be a sophomore, so and he'll have a good shot at getting on the field. So I mean, it's great. But no, I'm happy for the young man. Like I said, he put in the work. I mean, protect yourself. I mean, at all costs. I mean, because the NFL, it's not going to stop. A lot of these other places of employment are downsizing right now, or shutting down and different things like that. So.
Sure.
And it's still his career that we're talking about.
Saw it in the TV business with one of NBC Sports regionals. We saw a bunch of people getting laid off at Philly yesterday. I know, Durbin, you probably saw that. SNY, we got rid of a couple of shows, early shows, on things. Look, it's it's evolving here. Hey, Willie, your thoughts on here? And hopefully OG's boy gets some burn this year, man.
Yeah, no question.
Hey, Michael Brown Stevens.
Michael
Yeah,
Brown
Brown
Stevens.
Stevens.
3 names, 3 catches a game, baby.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
But no, I'm happy for him. I think he's making the right decision, and everybody sort of hit it on the head in terms of what's the right thing for him to do, and what's this pandemic has shown is that as a player, as if you're working for someone, whatever it is that you're doing, you have to make sure that you're doing what's best for you and keep that at the forefront. But one of the other things that you said, Larry, that resonated with me as well was how Minnesota handled it. And you take that out to my primary sport, basketball. Why is John Calipari able to keep filling that cupboard up with talent every year when they all depart for the NBA?
Achieve and leave.
Right, because that is his objective. And it's like, and you notice this, you talk about Coach K, right? Coach K actually shifted his idea. He sure did, right? So now you look at how PJ Fleck handled that, where he literally retweeted Rashad's statement and said, love you. If you want to keep that thing going, right? Especially when you're at a place that when you're in the Big Ten, let's be honest, Minnesota's not an easy job in the Big Ten for football and basketball. It is not an easy job. So if you want to keep that going, and these players are much more informed than they've ever been, you have to let them know that, hey, I'm here to develop you and get you out to the league.
You want to be like PJ Fleck or the dude from Washington State, you know, with this receiver. So yeah, I want to be like PJ Fleck. I remember PJ Fleck, he was at Central Michigan, right, or something.
Central Michigan.
Yep. Yeah, because they play MTSU in the.
No, I'm sorry, Western Michigan.
Western Michigan. Well, we played both Western Michigan. They played in the Bahamas a few years ago against Middle Tennessee. It was a high-scoring game, damn good game too. Both of those teams going up and down. It was like 45 to 40 or something like that. It was a great game. All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's get to the esports part of the program here. Vin TV guys made the launch yesterday. A lot of fanfare, a lot of hype, a lot of capital as well coming in. You know, 17 million, I believe, off the start. Probably more than that going forward. What did you think about Vin? Love the studio out there in LA. Going to open one here in New York. Gaming. You know, still looking for some linear sort of deals and distribution there. I haven't seen that, but got some digital stuff with Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, and I like that they're streaming on their own channel as well with Vin.tv. I think a lot of the stuff's cheesy. That's my only problem. They need some real brothers on there, but that's a different story. I want to get you guys' thoughts on that. Vin TV.
I watched it a little bit. I mean, I think I'm not going to be too critical in it starting out. I mean, it's just seeing the elements that they add to it. Obviously, I'm a big Aaron Ashley Simon fan. She always puts on well for the culture. So,
that's all they got.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen. I think Cash is supposed to be a part of it to some capacity.
Well, yeah, I think the fitness show. I think they're airing it tonight. Was it losing gains or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was waiting to see that, but the other people involved, I have to get familiar with them. I don't really know I don't really know about them, but
dude, they were talking about Ninja and LeBron today. I was like, stop. Don't do that. Yeah, he's a big star, but stop it. He ain't LeBron. Stop doing this nonsense. We're trying to get normal people and casual people to join us, and trying to say Ninja's bigger than LeBron. Just stop. Y'all lost me with that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, I haven't got to that part yet, but yeah, I mean, anything esports. I mean, they shine some light on, obviously the industry that I'm working in. I think it is great, but at the same time, I mean, it has to resonate, and so. That's what I'll be looking forward to see how it plays out with that.
Love the studio, D-Dubs. Did you get to check it out? Very, very nice studio. I like some of the programming, but some of it, like I watched it, I'm like, I was telling Coach K, I looked at some of these, the talent, and I looked at some of the shows. I'm like, what are they talking about? Like I'm a pretty informed person. I watch 5 minutes. I'm like, huh?
I'm kind of scared. Is this thing with Roland Martin's on here too?
No. What you watching, bro?
Oh, no, I guess.
Okay. He didn't do his homework.
It says Vent Network.
No, Ben.
It must be a different. It must be a different vein.
No, it's not vape. That's the problem. It's Vin.
Oh,
he didn't do his homework.
No, I looked at. Hey, my bad.
That's all you can do. Chalk it up.
My bad.
My bad.
Hey, love the accountability, man.
Hey, man. I read it wrong. Because when I saw it, I said, what is this? I put it in the Google. I'm sorry.
Said gaming and Roland S. Martin.
Yeah, this is something called TV Network and Roland Martin.
Oh, no, he didn't.
We're gonna meet you, Darwin. We're gonna mute
you. I deserve to be muted.
Durant, I'm gonna say this. You've been on a roll for the last few weeks, last month or two. You've been on fire. Dude, they threw water straight on you. You put water on yourself.
Hey, the thought of rolling
your own fire.
Hey, the thought of rolling in esports, man. That's enough to take you out.
I thought the screen didn't make sense.
I can't, man. Because I saw the look. He's looking. It's like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh boy,
esports would never be the same.
I think Roller could do it just about anything, honestly.
No, he can.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm rock with him. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't think esports ready.
Oh man! All right, we'll skip Derwin because he's not prepared to take this pop quiz.
No look past it. Really.
I'm gonna go to this guy right next to me right here on the screen in the box. His name is A. Willie. Go ahead, A. Willie. Since you're right next to me.
No, yeah, I agree. It's I certainly would like to continue to see the coverage be a little more robust, but also too at the same time, I know that anytime you are starting a network, it's a huge undertaking. But when you're trying to start that network and really create a presence in this type of climate that we're in right now with the things that we have going on from a health standpoint and whatnot, I think all of those efforts are going to be they may be curtailed a little bit. So we may not see it in its full and its most, I guess, prominent iteration until after we emerge from this. So I know that they're looking to continue to add to their content offering, but also it remains to be seen how they'll be able to do it when everybody is sort of dealing with revenue losses and throwing less revenue in certain areas and things of that nature. So with that being said, I think we do need to give it a little bit more time. It's almost like grading a trade. You got to wait for a little bit. Sure. With the type of pandemic that we're in right now.
But according to their own release and their own words, it's about gaming and culture. Where's the culture?
Well, we can feel that, boy.
Right? Yeah, I mean, anybody can. You got to have.
No. I'm not talking about anybody. I'm talking about us.
That's true. That's
right.
True. Yeah, I agree on that. I agree. But I guess that's. And OG knows what I'm talking about. That's why I was a little, I guess disappointed. I was like, where's the culture at? Y'all talking about gaming and culture, and we're going to do all this. They got the porn star on there. That's great. I'm like, okay. But where's the culture at?
I mean, because we play a large role in the participation of gaming. Like, I mean,
it's frustrating.
It's fact. Right? So, like I said, I'm gonna give it a chance. I mean, I know Erin. She ain't for it.
I tell you what, I'm gonna give them a few weeks, and then it's like, all right, I'm out. Like, I'm not gonna, it's like y'all doing all this talking and got the releases going out there and all this other stuff, man. Look, man, what did Marshawn Lynch say, man? About that action, boss, right?
That action.
Be about that action, man. Stop talking.
About that action and protect the chicken.
That's right.
All right,
he's giving them good game.
He was, and I want to look at this box over here. Actually, A. Willie's right here. He's my buddy right here. High five over here, A. Willie. Put your hand up so you can high five over here, bro. I was looking on the wrong box.
Wrong direction.
NBA 2K League, take it away, OG. The next man.
Tough loss last night. We could have actually clinched in the regular season. As of right now, it's 16, probably 17 to clinch after tonight. I don't even want to get into all the scenarios of what it'll take for us to clinch in the regular season, because I'm a firm believer in do your work and be responsible for it, and don't have to depend on other people. So, you know.
Hey, Willie, you just actually gave me a 5 back. That's funny.
Yeah,
I'm just
I
now
did.
saying that.
I
I'm sorry,
did.
OG. I'm
Nah,
sorry.
I
Hey, Willie, you
did.
crazy, dog. You silly, man.
Hey, my participation grade is going up, man.
Go ahead, OG. I'm sorry.
But no, so basically, if we don't clinch in the regular season, we'll be planning a ticket next weekend.
Well, I mean, what's the scenario? I mean, in layman's terms, what's the best way you can break it down?
Well, Bucks GG with a few different scenarios. Bucks
So 1
GG,
week left, right?
Yeah, this is the last week of the regular season.
What this week? This happened. This game you played last night was your last one?
Yeah, that was our last one.
Oh, okay.
16 game regular
16
season.
games. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, Bucks GG would have to lose out. T-Wolves would have to lose tonight against the Magic. Hornets would have to, and Blazer 5 would have to win, or T-Wolves lose to the Magic, Sixers win versus B5s, then Sixers lose versus the Wizards, or Bucks GG lose out, Sixers win versus B5, and then Sixers lose versus the Wizards.
Now see why you didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, so it's like one of those type things.
Like the NFL wild card.
I know, right?
I mean, but we played. We came out. They beat us the first game. Hornets GT, Venom's GT. They beat us last night in game 1, and then we came back in game 2 and 1, and then game 3, we just hit a rough spot, and should they end up beating us by 9? I mean, all our losses have been competitive. It's just mental lapses here and there, mistakes. Just like typically when you lose a lot of close games or games that you should win. Just we didn't play well in spurts, and it cost us. But I still remain optimistic that we can make a run, whether if we do happen to clinch in the regular season, excuse me, or we have to play in the ticket. I mean, it's still a shot. You still get a chance to, qualify if you win the ticket. So, I mean, we just have to take it how we can get it. I think the way the format is set up right now is that the first 10 teams are clinched through the regular season, and then I think the 10th seed are played the winner of the ticket. And the ticket tournament is next weekend. It's from August 13th to the 15th. I guess we'll know by either tomorrow night where we stand and be ready to start preparing and go from there.
All right, good stuff, man. We're rooting for you guys, man. Hopefully all of those playoff scenarios play out. If not, get that golden ticket. You know what I'm saying? Get that and make some noise in there, man. But look, I would just tell the guys, relax, guys. You're playing with house money. You got nothing to lose. Let it all hang, man. Let that thing hang and let the balls fly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I used that word earlier with Derwin, the accountability. That's where it starts. I mean, young guys, they got a lot to learn, but that's mainly where it starts, is when all 5 guys take accountability for what they're not doing or what they're doing on the virtual court, and then you can build. You can't build until everybody is standing 10 toes down and really hold themselves accountable at all costs.
Gotcha. Makes sense on that. All right, guys, we'll wrap up the show. Compete Forever on Black News Channel this weekend. I really want to thank Black News Channel, man. It's a very good partnership. Those guys are there for us every time we need anything. Huge shout out to those guys, Gary Wardlaw. Prince Hare left NBC Sports to take over BNC. We've had some communications. Joe Gutierrez, those guys, man, been very, very solid and good to us. Episode 10 this weekend. What we got, Coach K? It's the HBCU, the John Lewis Get Trouble movie, right? HBCU Takeover. The NBA 2K, 6 HBCUs. We had a representative from 6 different schools, I believe Southern University, Langston University, John C. Smith, Hampton, Virginia State, Fayetteville State as well, playing in this tournament here. Had a surprise. The lowest seed won the tournament. We'll let you guys figure out who that was, but it's a very good event. Myself and Renee Montgomery on there. Awesome time. Also giving some shout outs and some bouquets to the late, great John Lewis for inspiring us all to get in trouble, to get out there and vote, and to stir up some good trouble out there. So it was good working with those folks. I know the producers and everybody, they're happy about it. They're tweeting about it. Can't wait to watch it this weekend. Coach K did a great job editing that down from 6 hours to 44 minutes. I appreciate that, dog.
Coach K.
Coach K does all the heavy lifting. Yeah.
Okay.
So, hey, it ain't just Larry Ridley. Coach K do most of the lifting actually. So that's my brother from another mother. So yeah, good stuff there. But look forward to seeing that this weekend. And yeah, because there's a lot of push with the HBCUs. I know last week I was supposed to do something Sunday, but I had to sort of bail on it because I was traveling with some HBCUs. A lot of curriculums being started. A lot of things out there involving the HBCUs. I know OG has had some conversations with folks. So we definitely want to see our people and African Americans and these historical Black colleges and universities get into this space. You look at the numbers; some 75 to 80% of African American kids play video games. So there's some opportunities there to sort of bridge the gap, if you will, with STEM and also electronics and video games as well. And esports is the next frontier. We know John C. Smith, Hampton, and some other schools are definitely doing something. We're doing a live event for Langston University this Saturday, and also next Saturday. So a lot of schools are reaching out, and a lot of schools are trying to definitely join us in this space and get involved and engage their student bodies at their
Let me
respective
say this too,
institutions.
Larry. I mean,
Mhm.
and for those who listening, it's one of these things like because a lot of times I think everything gets misconstrued. Is like we're not saying because we're Black, like give us something. All
No
we just want access.
access.
Like that's it. Like I mean, if we can get because access is what allows anybody to do anything.
The kid
And
that won this HBCU takeover didn't have an Xbox, didn't have the game, and didn't have Xbox Gold. All he had was internet. All of those things got taken care of. He got access, an opportunity,
hey, that's
and he
it.
popped.
That's
It
it.
was Chance the Rapper.
That's it.
It was Chance the Rapper.
It was not Chance the Rapper. Stop lying. Go ahead,
But
OG.
yeah, nah, just access. I mean, if we get that and the opportunity, I mean, sky's the limit. I mean, and that's all we ask. I mean, a lot of times, I mean, we get pushed aside and don't get that access and don't get those opportunities, and then we left out in the cold. And that's the only thing that we asking through all the protesting, all the activism that's going on right now. It's all about just reversing some things and creating a more equal opportunity for people to have access and be treated fairly. That's it. That's all.
I think we're going to have Coach K. I think we're going to try to get the kid on Sunday that won the event. We'll get him on and maybe let him talk a little bit. What are your thoughts on that? I think we'll
Yeah, I
have him
think.
on
I think that
Sunday.
should be like a regular thing.
Yeah, we'll get him on.
Yeah.
We'll get him on the show Sunday. Let him talk about it because that's a great story. I mean, kid, like I said, he didn't have Xbox, didn't have the game, got it literally a day or two before the event. He said he labbed like all night and he popped. I think he won every game by double figures. Like
Yeah,
he
man.
took out the 1 seed, the 2 seed, and like the 3.
Yeah,
So
man.
he earned it. Like
He was the
he
trailblazer.
did a
right,
Portland.
D?
He did a Portland
Yeah.
Trailblazers. Basically. So you're right, D Dubs. It can be done.
That's a made for
Yeah.
TV. That's a made for TV movie.
Yes,
I would have
sir.
to. I would have to reevaluate my playing skills. Somebody just the day before didn't have the game, just take me out like that.
But D
Like,
Dubs, D Dubs, that was just one game. He didn't win like 12. Which is what the Portland Trailblazers would have to win in
You gotta
the
get
Western
16
Conference.
wins.
Or
You gotta
to
get
12 to
16
get to the
wins.
finals, and then another 4 to win it all.
You gotta
it
get
Yeah,
would
16
make
wins.
Wait.
it would make for a great 30 for 30.
But Larry, real quick. Now, I think it's yes. The guy that he played in the finals. I don't want to no spoiler alert, but you'll figure it out.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
I'm just going to mention. Basically, like he kind of didn't. He never played the game, and he was a player of a certain other genre, and then he learned how to play the game.
You learn how to play
and
2K.
and he made it to the final. I think I was more impressed with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but like OG said, he didn't even have the requisite equipment. Like,
His boy had it.
Crazy.
yeah, but hey, and he looked smooth. Like I was like, okay, this kid actually could compete with any of these other guys that play regs on 2K. Like he had it going, man. Like what was his team? Was it it wasn't the Lakers? Was it?
No, it's the Bucks.
It was the Bucks. Yeah, he dominated.
Yeah,
the
the
Bucks.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff, guys. Another great show, man. Any last thoughts before we get out of here?
The Raptors, Toronto Raptors uprising is shooting to go undefeated for the first time in NBA 2K League history.
15-0, trying to get to 16-0, right?
Yeah, they play tomorrow against Cavs Legion, and that'll be amongst the list of a lot of things that they have accomplished so far. So, just another milestone for the Raptors uprising, and Kenny got work in the crew.
Good stuff. Hey, Willie, D-Dubs, any last thoughts?
Just a shout out to Snook and Diddy, as always.
Hey.
And Renee Montgomery.
I was thinking the
Yeah.
same thing here live on Esports Extra. Shout out to Snook and Diddy and our other queens, Renee, Serena, and also the baby girl down there.
She just graduated. I know y'all probably talked about that yesterday. I mean, I seen that, so congrats to her for that.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, guys. Thank you, guys. Coach K back there pushing all the right buttons. Hey, Willie down there in the DFW trying to stay cool down there in the Metroplex. We got OG back in Manhattan. Good luck to the Nets, man. Hopefully you guys can find a way into the playoffs. And then, of course, the babyface assassin down there drinking that fountain of youth. Not drinking it, but swimming in it. In that fountain of youth. Look at him. Got that pretty clean face. Look at him. Backstroking out there in the fountain of youth. Good stuff, guys. Thanks for watching Esports Extra, the only live call-in sports show talking traditional sports and esports. We're back again Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. For everybody here, thanks for watching from the Metroplex, from the state of Florida, and from Manhattan. Larry Ridley here from the tri-state area. See you Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern for the next episode of Esports Extra. Thanks for watching.